Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Oguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Stephen, the independent thinker, Keith, the constitutional conservative, and my cousin Todd. We have a full show for you tonight. U.S. and British naval forces shot down 21 drones and missiles fired by Yemen-based Houthis yesterday towards the southern Red Sea. The United States said, with Britain hinting at further measures to protect international shipping lanes. Aaron Rodgers is off ESPN's Pat McAfee show for the season after ugly remarks about Jimmy Kimmel and Jeffrey Epstein. The Supreme Court agrees to hear former President Trump's appeal on him being taken off of the Colorado ballot. And the New York judge in the Trump trial says the former president can't speak during closing arguments in the New York civil fraud trial. The NFL, did your team make the playoffs, and which head coaches are fired as of today? Despair in Gaza as fighting intensifies despite Israel's promise to scale back war. Congratulations to the University of Michigan, the CFP national champions. And according to Punchbowl News, there's a bipartisan, bicameral top line spending deal. It's precisely what we thought it would be, the Fiscal Responsibility Act, with some slight tweaks. And that's before the anticipated government shutdown. It's 2024, and we are already looking at the 2024 NCAA men's basketball tournament bracketology. Taiwan is planning to vote this coming Saturday, in what China calls peace and war election. Republican presidential rivals Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley will square off in their first debate against each other tonight at 9 p.m. as Chris Christie suspends his campaign. The great Nick Saban retires from his head coaching job at the University of Alabama, and more if we can fit it in. First up, anyone want to comment on Nick Saban retiring from the Alabama Crimson Tide? Todd.
I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was a good coach, and he really took the Flyers a long way. So we're going to miss him. And
Well,
congratulations, America first.
I'm really sorry to see him go. I mean, I think it feels like since I was a kid, he's been the coach of Alabama. It seems like forever. I can't remember a time in my life that he wasn't. They've been so
Oh,
great
that's
with him.
terrible. In your
No,
age, you are not a kid. And look at that
no,
grade. And you're saying since you
no,
were a
no, no.
kid, he's
Look,
been
no,
a coach.
look.
That's
I look
pretty
a lot
rotten.
older than I am, but I've had a pretty hard knock life. So
Okay.
you can't really judge by the way I look. But no, I know. What I'm saying is I can't remember a time where he wasn't the coach and being successful and winning everything and it just being competitive every year, if not winning at all. That's really huge. That's somebody that's like Bill Belichick leaving. That's really big. He's
Right.
one of the best coaches that ever lived, and that's
Right.
a big. That's someone we're going to miss a whole lot. Having him out there all the time. I hope whoever they get could do something, but I don't know what this means for a Roll Tide Alabama now. It's gonna hurt them really bad. They're not gonna get any top five coach to come in there. And he gets recruits from all over the place. Even people would rather go to Florida or California or anywhere that's nicer than where he is. But it's been Alabama, so it's tough. So he's just another one. There's been so many surprises this year. So many, and
Yeah.
that's a
In
that's a
college,
that's a
you mean in
huge one.
college football.
Yeah, all these
And
coaches are leaving one way or the other.
speaking of which, did you see that Michigan versus Washington national championship game last night. I watched a little bit of it, but I was a little disappointed when, Washington couldn't seem to score against Michigan. Well, congratulations to Michigan and Coach Harbaugh. They were talking about whether or not the coach would leave Michigan before this championship game and go back to the NFL.
I,
Stephen, I'm not even going
yeah,
to ask him, Todd, because he don't even know anything about it.
he's
What
going
are you
to equate it
talking
to the
about?
Flyers.
No, I was not.
I thought it was a great game because I had Wolverines all the way. Had them both ways you can take them. Plus, that number 55.5 was way too high. You couldn't take 55.5, so I knocked it down to 47.5. But you know what that meant on two of my parlays, 47.5? I lost by
I
half.
don't know what you're saying. You're talking too fast. You're crazy.
Because the total was 40. I knocked it down from 55.5 to 47.5. And on two of my bets that I had them, I had them at given 5.5 and just straight up. But I also had it 47.5, and it ended up at 47 on both of my bets. Really, really upset. But I knew they were going to win. I didn't know they were going to win that big. I also had them winning between 1 and 13 points. I had them win. They had to win. They had such a better team, just a team that you did not want to play. They were so tough. And the coach, Harbaugh, is such a great coach. And I wish him well. If he stays, he's going to be in a big muck up there in college football, and they're going after him. Just get out, go to the pros, and win a Super Bowl in a couple of years. Get with a really good team. It's all open up for him. But that team is just too much, too good. And hopefully the Redskins can get some of those players in the draft.
I totally disagree. I don't think they could hold a candle to the Dodgers.
Well, that's apples and peanuts.
That's not. But whatever. You don't know anything about sports, so.
Down south, we say that's apples and peanuts.
Well, congratulations to Michigan, the University of Michigan, for their win of the national championship. Let us go on to the NFL. In particular, Aaron Rodgers. Stephen, he made a comment. Oh, well, Stephen, cousin Todd, and Keith. Aaron Rodgers made a comment that Jimmy Kimmel's name was found on that Epstein list. Epstein, who was
accused
of
molesting
and accused of trafficking, allegedly trafficking young girls. And he had a lot of celebrities, and he had a lot of politicians who he seemed allegedly trafficked young girls for these people to have fun with. Jimmy Kimmel's name was not on the list that was released by the court, but Aaron Rodgers said Jimmy Kimmel's name would be on that list before it was released. So why in the world would Aaron Rodgers, who didn't hardly play for the New York Jets this last 2023 season, say that about Jimmy Kimmel? Jimmy Kimmel has a family, wife and children. Why would he say that? Keith?
Bill Clinton has wife and children, so you can't say that's a prerequisite of number.
Well, Donald Trump has a wife and children,
but Donald Trump's not on this plane flight anyway.
Oh,
but
no, he was friends with Epstein.
No, he threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago a couple dozen years ago because he said
throw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago.
He threw him out of there because he said he's messing with young girls and he didn't have nothing to do with him. Your people, Oprah, don't tell you this, or Whoopi doesn't tell you this.
Hold up. Now, you said
why do you say Whoopi, Stephen?
I'm not interested in his explanations. I just want clarification. You said he threw Epstein out of his hotel a couple of years ago. You said, when was that?
I was years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years. I'm not exactly sure.
Now, is that before or after he went into the dressing room of young women in a beauty pageant? Ma'am, I'm asking the question.
That has nothing to do with Epstein.
Ma'am, let me ask you the question.
I don't care.
Is that before or after He
I don't
bragged
care.
about. No,
I'm
I'm
not his.
ask,
I'm
shut
not.
up.
I'm
Shut
not
up
Trump's
and let me ask
advocate.
the
I'm
question.
not Trump's
Let
lawyer.
me ask the question.
Okay, they're
Stop
equal
sitting.
then.
Okay, so now, is that before or after Donald
No idea. I
Trump?
don't care.
What?
Hey,
Shut up
Stacy,
and
can I
let
get
me ask
something
the question.
straight?
No,
I
you're
know,
going
but
to
I don't
answer.
care. I'm not going to
Hey,
answer.
okay.
I
Stacy
don't know
will
the
answer,
answer. So
and
keep
Keith will
asking me.
answer.
You're wasting
Shut
time.
up! Shut up! Shut up!
Stacy, let me
I want to
straighten
get
something
no.
out.
I want to get this question out
Wait, wait,
without.
wait, wait. Let Stephen, let cousin Todd ask the
Yes,
question. Then Stephen is going to talk about
whatever
sports,
he
Todd,
wants to
because you
talk
don't
about.
know anything about sports. So go ahead,
I
Todd.
want to move on and ask my question. You know, he was taught by the Tea Partiers. They said, "Keep
No,
talking. Don't let him
I'm
get
not
a word
biased.
in
I'm not
edgewise.
biased.
Shut up
If
and let
Trump
me
did
ask the
wrong, he
question."
did wrong. I
Hey,
don't
hey,
care.
hey, hey! You already said that 50 times. Now let me ask my question.
All right.
This is the question. I'm not talking to you because you don't know the answer. You already told me. The question is: you said he threw uh, this alleged traffic child molester trafficking person out of his hotel, Epstein. I'm asking you, is that before or after Trump bragged about going in the dressing room of young girls in a beauty pageant and seeing them naked? And you don't have the answer.
Okay, thank you.
I
Now you
don't.
made
I
your
don't.
comment. Now,
I,
Stephen.
let me set the record straight, Stacy. Aaron Rodgers said Kimball will be surprised when the list comes out. He didn't say he was going to be on the list. This is what Aaron Rodgers does. It screws up people in the media because they don't really pay attention. They don't hear right. But what he actually said was he'll be surprised when the list comes out. That could mean his best friends that he has on his show, they're all on the list, something like that. But he never implicates himself. Like he said, did you have the shot? Remember a long time ago, did you get the shot? He said, I'm all the way immune or whatever he said. You know, he's funny. He's a smart guy. So he won't put himself like he won't say Jimmy Kimmel's going to be on that list because he had sex with little tiny children that were about this big. He didn't say that because he's a smart guy and he gets everybody riled up. But the thing it is that nobody's talking about is Kimmel was always really nasty to him and making jokes about him because of his of medical condition and believing that he should never get the shots because his doctor told him not to get any of these shots because of a health condition he has. It's not good for him. And that's well documented. You can look it up, but you might have to look to the 6th story or the 8th story because the people who have these major companies like Google and everything else, they'll make sure you're not going to be able to get the information that's the truth. And that's what's happening. What we're living in is a huge, big land of
Okay,
lies.
he's not going to
And
just go on babbling
yeah, but
on.
that's what it is.
That's
No,
it.
so Stacy, remember, Aaron Rodgers is smart. He's not a stupid guy. And Kimball, or whatever, he's not that smart a guy. I've known him for years.
Okay.
I mean, not personally, but I've known him for years when he was with the other guy, Cordell or whatever, Adam Cordell. They're just goofballs. They're real goofballs. And Aaron Rodgers is a really smart guy.
Well,
And
Thank
he
you.
figured out a lot of stuff. So yeah,
Okay, thank you. Keith, did you have a
let him
comment
have a
about that?
cage fight.
I no, not particularly. I mean, that whole
Okay.
thing, I don't even pay attention
Yeah,
to
it's
what's.
just goofy.
Yeah, I'm
All
not.
right, thank you. All right, let us move on to the
did he have a
NFL
comment on
further.
Donald Trump when I asked, did Donald Trump put Epstein out before or after he was bragging about going into a dressing room, seeing naked young girls in a beauty pageant?
No comment. It's not. That's not.
I'm not really. I'm not. I don't think he's ever bragged about it, and I'm not sure if it's 100% true. You might have heard it on that Whoopi Goldberg show. Non-hot women sitting around talking about stuff they don't know anything about. Isn't that your favorite
Oh,
show, Todd?
hilarious.
Non-hot
Oh,
women. Wait a minute,
hilarious.
Stacy. Don't get dumb
Oh boy.
because he called them non-hot
No, they're probably
women.
hot because they're going through the minis.
HOT. This is what this white boy is saying about these women who are in their profession doing their
Oh,
job. How dare you?
they're just
And how
horrible,
dare
miserable
Stacy?
liars, man. It
How
don't matter
dare
what they look like.
Stacy allow that?
Steven knows how to trigger
Well,
you.
you
She
know, What's your name? Todd?
Oh, get out of here! Don't call my name. Talk about him saying those non-hot women. Did you ever hear him
Todd,
say those
Well,
non-hot men?
Todd, that couldn't possibly offend you.
He's never said anything about
Todd, we'll leave
non-hot
it to you to
men.
say those non-hot
He
men. We'll
said
leave that to
those
you.
non-hot women. That was so discriminatory and
It's so
Todd.
ageist.
bad. Words,
All right,
Well,
see, all right,
Todd,
because
I
word,
think
you're
word,
that
words are
Stephen,
violent.
excuse me,
Yes,
Stephen, I
ma'am.
think he has a right to make any opinion that he wants to make, cousin Todd. But he is not necessarily calling them out of their names. He's
Okay,
saying that
Stacy,
this is
you
what he
sound
thinks
stupid,
about
and I'm
them.
not listening to you any longer.
here comes
Bye.
Tuna.
Bye bye.
Oh,
Well,
look
we
at
got
that.
rid of Todd. Y'all are welcome.
Hey,
Let's
Tuna,
let's
look
let's just
at
go through the sports really quick now that Aguna's here, and
Yeah,
we don't have to deal with Todd talking about the Penguins or the
he's a
Flyers.
big baby. He's a baby.
great. All right, so we're going to talk about Pete Carroll was fired and why the Seahawks made a coaching change. Steven, you want to go into that?
Oh
Was he
yeah, I mean,
fired? I thought he resigned. He got
yeah.
fired.
No, he's not. They really didn't fire
ESPN,
him. They
said
just gave him another position on
ESPN.
the team. They gave him another position on the
I'm not
team.
making this up.
He's going to be overseeing everything as it goes on. He's going to be very valuable to the team because they can't fire him. He's one of the best coaches ever in the NFL. They can't fire him. They can't. They got to keep him if he wants to stay. But they're going to bring a new coach on. He's going to help that new coach. He's going to help with everything that transitions because he's a brilliant guy. He's a brilliant coach, and anybody they bring on is going to be so happy to have him hold their hand a little while until they get used to what's going on. And he's 72. He's not going to be there forever. But it's a nice homage, I think, to a guy who really deserves a lot of respect. And if he wants to stay and they want to put him in a position, giving him office, and still have him go out there and talk to the team and stuff, that's a beautiful thing, man. I think they should do it with the coaches like this that have got a little bit beyond their prime. I think it's a nice thing to
Okay,
do.
so if you look at the screen, Aguna, it says, this is according to ESPN.com, it says that on Wednesday, which is today, the Seattle Seahawks made the biggest move they could, announcing that Pete Carroll is out as head coach after a 14-season tenure, the most successful run in franchise history.
Yeah.
So the question they want to ask surrounding the move and where the Seahawks go from here is, why did this happen now? And was it completely unexpected? What do you think?
Well, I mean, if not now, when? I think Pete Carroll was a great, as Stephen mentioned, he's a great coach. The Eagles sure as heck couldn't beat him, right? I think we had I don't think we've ever won against Pete Carroll. But again, he did a lot for the Seattle Seahawks, Legion of Boom, and everything. Got them to 2 Super Bowls, won one. So what more can you ask? and at the end of the day, we're in a very quick. They want to be very instant gratification in this league, right? They want people that can come in there and go to the Super Bowl their first year. If you're not, you have a losing season, they're firing you. You're one and done. It's like quick. You got guys coming in. They want younger, more creative coaches that can relate to some of these young guys coming out of college now. And he's
Which
72.
is hard to do. It's hard to do with these millennials.
You're going to see exactly. So you're going to see a
Right.
lot of turnover. These old school coaches, the Riveras,
Right.
you got some of these guys
Speaking of
that
which.
can't relate. So it's the last hurrah for a lot of them. Even the Sean Paytons of the world are getting up there. So we'll see. Bill Belichick is another one that's probably going to be done. I think he's going to be in Tampa, but we'll see. I mean, and you can see a lot of the young coaches are one and done. You look at the Atlanta coach. There are all these coaches that are just getting the axe and excuse me, over over Black Monday and this week. So it's good to make this move early, because the other thing is you want to make sure that you have time to interview replacement candidates. So the sooner the better. That way, if you drag it on into February and drag it on into March, all the good candidates are gone, and you got the aura of the playoffs going on. So a lot of teams are trying to make moves early so they can start positioning in order to set up these interviews.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, talk about this headline you see from ESPN.com right now. This is your team.
Yeah, but you know what the word on the street is right now? That Rivera is talking behind the scenes to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he may be y'all's new coach because they're talking about
New coach?
yeah, your new coach because they're going to get rid of your coach because of this disastrous year. No, I'm just playing. No, nobody wants Ron Rivera, and I would not get rid of y'all's coach. But you know what? You know how Philly is. A lot of people are talking about getting rid of your coach right now because it's been such a huge collapse, like one I've never seen, and I've been around a long time, and I've never seen a collapse like this. It's devastating, and I think a lot of it is injuries, of course, but I think Hurts has really been hurt, and it's just getting worse during the year or something. Something's not right. And they said they lost this guy that got in a fight like about 5 weeks ago. One of the he's not a player, but he's a guy that kind of keeps Philadelphia going. He's been doing it for decades, and they set him down. So I don't know.
We were talking about him. This happened before. We talked about him. Remember, Aguna,
Yeah.
head of security for the Eagles.
Yeah,
but this
that's
happened
old news,
before.
Steven.
Yeah, but
that's
they
old,
have
and
been
that happened
losing.
before
They have been
we broke
losing
down.
ever since they set him
No,
down.
they
They've been
start losing
losing.
before him.
The curse
No,
of
they
what's
start
his
losing
name?
before him.
I know.
What's it?
No, they didn't lose. I mean, I think, well, did they lose that game? Oh, it was San Francisco. Yeah. After the San Francisco game, they took a nosedive.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, so coming into this year, the big question mark was always going to be the defense. It was always going to be the turnover they had on defense. They got rid of like 8 starters on defense. And then you had these coordinators. You got Desai and Johnson. And the players just did not respond well. And then they made a move at the D coordinator position where they had this peculiar change with Patricia coming in. And Patricia coming out of New England is used to running 3-4 defenses, right? So he's used to having very athletic, very smart game situational awareness type linebackers. And you can't get those kind of linebackers, with 4 games left in the season. It's not going to happen. So you had all these different changes happening, including the offense creativity. There's no creativity on offense. We were playing against the Cardinals. It's late in the fourth quarter, 2nd and 20, and 1st and 20, and they do 2 back-to-back runs with Jalen Hurts, and then they do a screen and gets Smith hurt. So then you go to the Giants, where the Giants game, the team completely quit on the coaching staff. It was bad. Mm-hmm. And so the question now, to Steven's point earlier about Sirianni and firing him, of course, Eagles fans are saying we got to get rid of him, primarily because we don't know if he has the respect and the respect of the team. It's like he's lost the locker room, and that's the worst thing that a young head coach can do. Now, I will say this. I think he's earned another year. The coordinators, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, they need to get the hell out of there. That's that experiment is over with. Brian Johnson, who's been coaching Jalen Hurts since he was little, it's too close. He needs somebody in there to take him to the next level. We need creativity on defense. We need people that can come in there and develop linebackers, develop secondary, because it makes no sense that in the last the Eagles lose 5 of the last 6 and have backup quarterbacks just walk. I mean, Arizona didn't punt the whole game. They never punted the whole game, right? And he's a backup. I mean, not back. That was actually Kyler Murray. So he's just coming off an injury or whatever. But still, they were a 3-12 team. They only had 3 wins. And then you had Tyrod Taylor just eating up the defense. Nothing getting done on offense. And they just eating up the defense. The players playing like they don't want to be there. And Philly is a very short memory town. It's whatever have you done for me lately? And so
you just went to the Super Bowl, man. You just went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but I know.
So I know
Kansas City just went to the Super Bowl too. Kansas City
haven't been there in a while,
and they didn't do that good at the end of this season.
Yeah, but then you're talking about firing Andy Reid.
Yeah, I mean,
well, they're not
so I guarantee you, if they go back-to-back losses 2 years from now, they'll be talking about it. Sirianni has got himself at least another year. He would have had 2 years, but what's happened is, with this epic collapse in which the team, you're in the driver's seat, you got to beat 2 losing teams in order to win the division, and you can't beat them either one.
And you lost
that's a head scratcher.
You lost the division to Dallas, of all teams.
Yeah, I knew that was happening.
They're like our arch rivals.
Mediocre. It's like who's more mediocre? The Eagles are the Cowboys, and the Cowboys won it. because we're just not playing good football right now.
Well, the Cowboys are going to win a playoff game unless you think Green Bay can go into Dallas and beat them. I don't.
I don't either.
Nobody has gone into Dallas this season and beat Dallas.
That's what I'm saying. They scored
and
34
unless
points
you
a
have
game.
Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay has won 9 of the last 10 games against Dallas, but
Yeah.
they've all been with Aaron Rodgers. He's the Cowboy killer. Love is not going to go into Dallas and win this game. If he does, and mind you, that's a big if.
Yeah.
He'll be a legend, and this
It'll
will probably be
start
the
then.
biggest epic collapse. I mean, the Eagles' collapse will be pale in comparison to the Cowboys.
And it could happen. It could happen because they had Aaron Rodgers, they had Brett Favre. Love
You
is the
want to go
next
double
one
or
in
nothing,
line.
Steven? Remember our bet from last week? I was going to come on here and apologize if the Cowboys lost and the Eagles won. And as you can see, there's no apologies needed because the Eagles did exactly what I thought they were going to do. And
Right.
the Cowboys, of course,
Yeah.
closed out the season. If the Dallas Cowboys lose to the Green Bay Packers, now mind you, the Green Bay Packers are the 7th seed. No 7th seed has ever won a game, right?
No.
Because again,
Right.
it's the new playoff format. If the Green Bay Packers, which would be pretty interesting to have the historic franchise of Green Bay be the first 7th seed to win,
Could happen.
New playoff format.
Y'all
On
gonna
the
talk
road
about
against
any
Dallas,
teams that matter?
I don't
Or
see
y'all
it
just
happening.
gonna keep talking about
This is a playoff game that matters, and I'm gonna take Green Bay getting 7.5 because I think it's gonna be a 7-point game. Because I think
Cowboys
Green Bay
going to win
can
by at
score.
least 2 touchdowns. Cowboys.
You think
by
Dallas is going to win by 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, easy.
Because Green Bay's
Maybe
defense
a little
sucks so
early,
bad.
but 2 touchdowns, they pull away later on.
Because Green Bay's defense is that bad. It
So,
could.
excuse
Cowboys are
me,
at home. They're not going to lose.
Yeah.
we have
Not gonna
we have
lose.
someone
No.
on. Welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and interact
Yeah,
and
Broseph.
mingle. We have Broseph. Broseph, did you want to make a despairing comment about the Eagles, or did you want to talk about your Atlanta Falcons?
They
No,
lost their coach.
I kind of wanted to talk about the teams that matter. So, I mean, if you guys want to keep talking about the teams that don't matter, I mean, we can talk about Philly and Atlanta if you want. But
Oh, my God.
Hey, Aguna,
What
who's
team
going
is
to
in the
win?
playoffs one
Hey,
series?
Aguna, Tampa Bay, you got Philly this week. Philly's a 3-point favorite.
Hey, man, slow down.
I'm sorry. I gotta interject real quick because we're gonna get off the subject. I want to know where Aguna is. Would
Yeah,
you
we
take
are.
Philly and lay 3 points? Aguna?
No.
I understand you want to fill out your scorecard, but
No.
relax for a second, man. Relax.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't want to lose it. Go ahead.
Well, don't
sorry.
take advice until we get the full injury reports. For one, just wait a day before you do it. We still got a couple things up in the air. Okay, don't fill out
Right,
your
but-
cards yet. I'm trying to help
Oh
you.
no, I'm
trying
not.
to-
I'm just getting his opinion. Where we are sitting right here.
All right, go ahead.
I
I want you to lose money. Go ahead, tell him, go.
I don't lose money.
No, I have no confidence in the Eagles' offense. I don't think they're going to go into Tampa and win based on what I've seen the last 4 or 5 weeks. They've struggled against mediocre teams. They struggled against backup quarterbacks. If they somehow miraculously flip the switch and actually start playing like a legitimate contender given the nature of their collapse, I would be shocked. So I would not take
So then my
Philly. I would
question
take
to you-
Tampa. I think Tampa by 7, at least 7.
So my question to you, Aguna, is what is going on with the wide receivers, and is the secondaries of these other teams able to cut off our wideouts?
Yeah, these players are not creative, and they take too long to develop. You're seeing that, Jalen Hurts, they're basically peeling back and blitzing Jalen Hurts, right? And so how do you get out of that? You screen. Jalen Hurts does not know how to throw the screen pass that well. You run quick slants out the playbook is long developed wheel routes down the field. They're not running the ball early on first and second down.
So maybe, maybe what they can do to counter that is to do mix it up a little bit, do some runs with
Sirianni said he's not throwing the play, he's not changing the playbook. So it's we were calling for the run early on. He stopped running, then he starts running in bad parts of the game. So I don't see them going to Tampa on the road and winning it with the mindset that they have. I'll be shocked if they win that game.
Well, I guess we got past the Philly cope segment. You guys are coping well. No, you're probably going to beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's been really bad the past 3 weeks. Baker, basically their offense is Baker throws it up to Mike Evans. That's it. He missed a couple deep balls last week.
And who's going to cover him from Philly?
Right.
That's going to be enough. I'm telling you.
Hold on. We've heard enough. Hold on. Relax.
And then
get
we really
some
go
water.
to Dallas and lose.
Get some water. Nice cold cup of water.
Nah. This is Philly. We don't drink water. We drink birch beer.
Don't drink that Philly water.
Beer, man. Yeah, so Slay will be coming back. That should help. But the other part of it is they can't protect Baker. So Baker's going to get hit a lot. Philly's basically
with what blitz? We don't blitz.
Just relax, man. I got you.
Slay coming back is good. Slay coming back is really good.
Yeah, but
he'll play 10 yards versus 5 yards off.
Yeah, he comes back. He gets in the mix,
telling you, man,
and
Philly
then
fans
by
are
the
the
second half, Slay is either down and hurt or he's running around, not knowing where to go.
You're wrong.
Dude, they've lost. Hey, Broseph, they've lost 5 out of 6 games. They gotta be discouraged at this point.
Let's say
they have to be discouraged.
They're used to losing, so he's going to try to give them all this advice. You know, you're coming from a franchise with the worst Super Bowl collapse in history. We're not listening to you.
Now he's lashing out. Okay.
I am lashing out. I'm an Eagles fan. That's what we do.
Okay,
surprise.
1 second.
But what does Todd say? Surprise.
Okay, finish. Let him finish, please. Broseph.
Tell him.
Go ahead, Broseph.
This is like calling Philly radio. So anyway.
Yeah.
Slay's coming back.
We fight.
Slay's coming back. They can't protect Baker. Baker, as we all know, is a limited quarterback. He's going to have problems with that big D line of Philly. You're going to see a lot of balls swatted, batted down. That's going to be an issue. Philly is going to play a really buttoned-up conservative game. They're going to do a lot of punting. This is not early season Philly high-scoring flying offense. Jalen has been hurt for about 6 weeks and going, and he just hasn't been the same. This is not about scheme. This is about the offense is built around Jalen's athletic ability and his ability to push the ball down the field. They haven't been able to do either thing. So they're going to slow it down. Gainwell, I guess, is going to get the majority of the carries because Swift is still sick. I don't know about that part. But besides that, all you're worried about is Rachaad White out the backfield and Mike Evans going deep. I don't think Tampa can execute that enough to score enough points to win. Watch Philly in an upset. Bet on Philly. You're going to make money this week. This is going to be the surprise because everybody's kind of left.
It's not an upset. Philly's favored by 3.
I know Philly's still favored. So
yeah, they're favored by 3.
Favored by 3 against Tampa Bay. Like, come on, y'all. Like, think about this. This is the Super Bowl participant favored by 3 against Tampa Bay. What does that mean?
They just lost to Arizona and the Giants. They lost to Arizona and the Giants. Aguna's daughter's football team could beat them.
You're the only one who got TV. Yeah, we know. We know that.
Look,
all right, we got to move on.
I appreciate Broseph trying to
console. Man. I'm not trying to console y'all. I'm trying
to help.
Thank you.
Y'all be wrong as you always are, and then you act like.
What about Hurt's finger? Did you see his finger?
Oh yeah.
That's his throwing hand.
He won't be able
to feel this finger.
Hey.
That's his throwing hand.
He won't be able to feel his whole right arm. They're gonna shoot.
That's not good. That's not good. You need to feel your arm to be a quarterback.
Steven's over here doing Crip signal.
You better learn about Jordan.
Okay, let's move on. Thank you. Anything else with sports?
Detroit versus the Rams.
The Eagles.
Nobody wants to hear.
That's my upset pick.
Will beat.
Who do you have? Detroit.
Dang. Speaking of Crip,
you got the Rams. Oh, go ahead, Todd.
What set you claim, Todd? What set you claim?
I think the Eagles are going.
Todd is down with Death Row.
Come on, that Republican coming out of Aguna again, cousin Todd. That's
I
know.
He said the Eagles will win if they get enough home runs. If the Eagles get enough home runs, they'll win the game.
West Side Connect, Todd.
Listen to these people; they're crazy.
I know, right?
Let's move on. I'm not even going to comment now because.
And everybody's
I respect
happy.
that, Todd. I couldn't get through 30 seconds without.
I know.
Hey, we're feeling good tonight.
Excited.
I'm feeling good tonight. Sorry.
I'm pretty good.
Are you?
All right.
You sound
I want to move on.
You got DeSantis versus Haley debating. This is a spirited night.
All right, let's move on.
Did we pick the upset of the week? The Rams versus Detroit.
And you have the Rams.
Going with the Rams.
What about Stafford? Is Stafford hurt or is he okay?
He's fine. Where did that come from?
No, so I heard rumors he might not be 100%, but if he's okay, then yeah, I go with that. I'll go with the Rams.
I think that's the upset. Again, Eagles. I appreciate Nas' synopsis though, definitely, and of course, I think the Cowboys will destroy.
Any listeners, do not bet with Aguna. They do not know what they don't bet with them.
Hey,
they're gonna
Nigerian. I know about money. I know.
Okay, thank you.
Bets.
Aguna, do you have Cleveland or
So
Houston?
I do have Cleveland. I do have Cleveland over. I think even though Stroud has made tremendous strides this year, it was in a very mediocre, bad AFC South. I think, which I'm surprised, Joe Flacco.
This man is about to tell you to put money on Joe Flacco. Don't listen to this man.
I don't know. So I don't think Houston's going to beat Joe Flacco. It's not even Joe Flacco. It's who Joe Flacco has around. By the way, his tight end, named Njoku, is going to be a differentiating factor there.
Sir,
you got a supporting cast there.
City
so
of
it's not
Cleveland,
just Flacco, it's his supporting cast.
What about the city of Cleveland tells you that they're not being built up to get their fans heartbroken again? This is Cleveland. You know how this ends.
Yeah.
But,
and that's why Detroit
throws a pick six at the end and ruins the season.
Cleveland's always Cleveland. Detroit's always Detroit.
The matchup is going to be Flacco is going to beat Houston, and he's going to go and play
Baltimore.
Lamar Jackson.
All right, we're out of time.
And
that could happen. It's all about the line. It's all about the story.
Stacey, these are the AFC games. We got Patrick Mahomes
Buffalo
versus Tua, and
you got Buffalo.
So I think Miami pulls that out.
Y'all just gonna keep going.
I think Buffalo's going to destroy Pittsburgh.
Hey, Pittsburgh's dangerous. I'll take Pittsburgh with the points. Pittsburgh's a dangerous team, man.
Over Buffalo? In Buffalo?
No, not over. With the 10 points.
Was it 7? How many points?
10.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's called a sucker.
All right, we're going to move on.
No, in the first round of the playoffs, usually it's a closer game. You should take the teams that if the big spread.
No 7 seed has ever won.
I'm not saying winning. I'm saying they lose by 9.
You can cover the
You guys are not paying attention.
They cover the spread.
You guys aren't paying attention to Stacey.
Former President Trump, we'll start with Keith. Former President Trump can't speak during his closing arguments in the New York civil fraud trial. The judge says this was updated today at 2:25 p.m. on CNN.com. Keith, do you want to talk about how, the judge had asked former President Trump's attorneys whether or not President Trump would speak at the closing arguments of the trial, and Trump's attorneys never got back to the judge and never answered him. And so he said, well, since the judge said, since you guys never got back to me and told me whether or not former President Trump will speak, you missed the deadline, he's not going to speak. How's that going to affect former President Trump's trial?
Oh, I don't know. I never heard of, I always thought in a defense trial, I always thought it was the closing arguments were done by the attorneys. That's the way, I've always seen it. But
you think this is about a closing argument, sir?
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, this is all unprecedented anyway. So we'll see where this thing goes. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal to make out of it.
Stephen, is it a big deal?
No, it's not a big deal. It's all garbage. All of us is garbage. I mean, I'm another Trumper. I would vote for Trump over what we have going on that's running this country now. I'd vote for Trump, but I'm another Trumper. But I would suck it up and vote for him because it'd be better. Or DeSantis. DeSantis, there's a couple people, but what's running this country now is running it in the ground. Sir, I don't want that. But I have so many problems. I have so many problems with Trump, but I will accept his problems, and I will be hard on him like I was before when he's president. But right now, what we have running this country is not good to anybody.
You weren't hard on Trump.
So the question is how his not speaking at the end of his trial is going to affect the outcome of the trial.
It doesn't matter because it's a kangaroo court anyway. It's kangaroo.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Brother.
So shout out to his lawyers who did a good job. They didn't want to bring this to him because he would have said, hell yeah, I want to speak. So in order for them to kind of downplay it and not respond to the judge, they got the actual outcome that they wanted, which is he won't speak, which means he won't hurt himself anymore in this trial. This was a good job by the people representing him. They don't want him to speak. That's not good for him. He hurts his own case when he speaks. So, yeah, good job by his lawyers.
All right, now.
Cousin Todd.
All right.
He wanted to speak not for court's sake, but for Keith and Stephen's sake. And so, he was duped by his lawyers. And he shouldn't speak anyway. I mean, what was he going to say? It's not going to affect this outcome of the court because he's already been found guilty. Now it's just how much. So
right, but a judge decided he's guilty, and they really don't. It's something by some garbage he made up. It's just garbage.
A judge decided.
Right, a judge said it's worth this amount. Somebody else said it's this amount. The judge says, no, I'm right. It's real kangaroo court garbage here, man. All of these cases are political. If Donald Trump wasn't running for president and leading in all the polls, they wouldn't be going after him right now. We all know that.
Thank you.
We're all adults.
Todd, you finished. Steven, you gotta let Todd finish. Finish,
no,
Todd.
go ahead.
I thought he was done.
No, go. I
said something about the Flyers.
I can't take Steven today.
Get him, Steven. All right.
I can't take Steven today.
Get him,
so
can't. So go ahead.
It's funny now. All of a sudden, we have this corrupt judicial system when it comes to Trump. There's no accountability on his part. He just even if let's say this was quote unquote a kangaroo court, why would you want somebody that would put themselves in a position to be in a kangaroo court? There's no accountability, really. At the end of the day, he's good that he didn't. Trump is not an orator, all right? The less he speaks, just like when Keith and Stephen speak on this show, the dumber we get, right? Let's just keep all of that to a minimal, and so we can move on with our lives. But he would have made a fool of himself.
Okay, thank you. I want to talk about the candidates for Republican candidates for president are debating tonight around 9 p.m. and it's Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley.
Should we call them candidates or fundraisers?
They're candidates, and everybody raises funds.
Chris Christie
Chris
Christie also had some comments that he had to say that weren't too flattering, and he hasn't endorsed any candidate. Who wants to talk on Chris Christie's stance and why he's unable to get any momentum? He didn't endorse any candidates, and what this
is he still
debate will be like tonight.
No, he dropped out. He just dropped out today.
Sir, he's a loser. He can't gain any.
Hold on.
He can't gain any traction because nobody wants him.
No.
The point wasn't for him to win.
None of you guys want him. None of you guys want him. I don't want him.
Of course not.
I don't think Steven wants him.
Yeah, he would have been the next William Taft.
Very reasonable, by the way. You two are very reasonable.
No, we didn't want him. He's a miserable dude. He's a miserable guy. I don't think anybody on either side likes him.
Because he talks about your baby Trump.
No, but Trump's not mine. I'm talking about his actions when he was a governor of New Jersey.
Excuse me. Go ahead, Broseph. Go ahead. You are hijacking the show, Aguna and Steven.
Sorry. I'm sorry Aguna can't be quiet.
So the point of his campaign wasn't to win. The point of his campaign was essentially revenge. He'll never forgive that man for making him hold that umbrella on stage and walk behind him and then not give him the cabinet position that he was promised. He did debate prep with him. Like, he did a lot of stuff for Trump in the last election cycle, and he basically got discarded at the end of the day. And that dude is real mad about it. And, he brought it to him, talked about him as badly as he could, and used, his best attribute, which is the microphone. Chris Christie is really good at speaking, so of course that's what he was going to do. But was he ever going to win? Did he ever have a backing? No, that was never in the cards.
If he was good at speaking, he would have got more than 1%.
Okay, so anyone who wants to talk about
not with the far right contingent of the Republican Party.
He's just a goofball, man. He's awful. I never liked him before Trump came into the picture. I never liked him, Chris Crispy.
Okay.
One thing is sure, Stacey. One thing
That
is
GOP presidential debate in Iowa. My question is this. Let me ask this question to Keith and Stephen, and then it'll be to Cousin Todd, Aguna, and Broseph. Why is it President Trump is so far ahead in Iowa right now that he doesn't even have to show up?
This is like a
what is it about Iowans that represent the country in terms of voting for former President Trump?
Well, they got so many black people there in Iowa.
Wait a minute,
like 95% white.
Keith, it's for Keith.
Yeah, establishment versus patriots. Establishment versus patriots.
Look, you got quiet anybody down after talking over everybody.
Is destroying democracy. First of all, we are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic.
And
so all these people going around talking about he's destroying a democracy.
What is a republic?
So that is very much what's going on. The establishment versus the patriots. And that's really what's going on.
People saying this.
And the people
thank you, Stephen.
People on this show, other than Stephen, they don't understand that, but they are part of the establishment. But
the reason,
Stephen, why even have DeSantis and Haley debate tonight? I mean, what is it that they can say that's going to make a difference in this Trump being 30 points ahead of them?
It depends on what they say. They can have a place in Donald Trump's cabinet. What happened is Donald Trump and the people that are around Donald Trump, and I respect so many of these people because it's not about Donald Trump. It's about a person being treated the way they are by the left, by the judicial system that's wrong, and going after all their enemies the way they're doing, like some third world BS. And what the Trump people are doing right now that they didn't have before because they didn't know how much garbage, how much cheating, how much rigging was going on. They got a groundswell of people down there that's working with them. They've got everything going on. They're doing what they should do. Now the Republican Party is garbage.
I thought this happened.
The Republican Party is absolute garbage because the Republican Party is down with the Democrats. But Donald Trump and his people are tearing it up, and that's why he's doing well. That's why he's going to continue to do well. What the left is doing to Donald Trump is making him the biggest person in the world, making him so much bigger than Ronald Reagan when he ran against Jimmy Carter.
Thank you.
Joe Biden is Jimmy Carter on steroids. It's going to, unless they kill him like they did Kennedy, he's going to be your next president, Donald Trump, and you know that.
That's
okay, Cousin Todd. How can they vote? How is it that
crazy in
the CIA killed John Kennedy?
Excuse me. How is it that former President Trump is able, whenever he's in court, his numbers in terms of polling numbers go up?
Well, because everybody knows it's BS.
Now you want to believe polls.
Man, I hate this dude so much.
Yeah.
You shouldn't hate, sir.
Okay. All right. Because this is America. And the only things that came over to America were out of the jails of Europe. And so you have dumb, ignorant people like Stephen and Keith who believe Trump's lies. Even though he'll tell you flat out, I'm lying, but I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and get away with it because of Stevens and Keith's.
He loves that quote.
Well, it's true. And so that's why his numbers are up. It's the ignorance of America. And it's not a lot of Americans. Let me just say that it's a good 30% of America loudly, but I'm going to say 40% quietly.
All right. So Aguna, I guess he left. Aguna, why is it that Trump continues to move forward? The more he gets into trouble in the court system, the more his numbers go up, and he may actually be elected president of the United States next.
Yeah, America, it's become a popularity contest, right? So you don't look at qualifications, don't look at your resume. It's like, how does this guy make me feel, right? Trump is actually a character. You either like him or hate him, but he's a character. He has something to react. He doesn't know anything about the Constitution. He doesn't know anything about laws. but he's just a brazen guy. And that's what Americans are gravitating to, the ones that support him. I disagree with Todd. I don't think that Keith or Stephen are being tricked by him. This is who Keith and Stephen are. They like those things, those attributes, those racist attributes about Trump. They like his.
What is racist?
All those different things about him.
What is racist about Trump? What is racist?
There's good people on both sides.
What is racist?
That double talk stuff, And so even if I were to sit here and explain it, they're not going to listen.
You're racist,
that's
man.
Who they are. And so
he's
they
not
want
racist.
Somebody like them to say the quiet stuff out loud. He's strong enough to say the quiet stuff out loud, and they love it and they gravitate to it. Don't worry about the Constitution. Don't worry about qualifications. Don't worry about anything. Just worry about how he hates black people
like
him.
Keep your racist, man.
How he makes you feel.
It's not. No,
inside.
All right.
Therefore,
we're not.
Okay, let me get Broseph.
No matter what.
Why is it that former President Trump continues to move up in the polls, no matter how many court cases he has?
Yeah. So to the first part of your question that you asked, at first about Iowa. Well, Iowa is a certain demographic, a demographic that is really favorable towards him. You go to Davenport, talk to 5 black people, you've talked to all the black people in Iowa. So it really should be no surprise that he's doing well in Iowa. But as far as the polling, something people got to understand, man. These companies that need traction and that want clicks and views, they do this really bad one-sided polling where you get a sample size of essentially centrists and Republicans, and then they try to treat that as if it's a representative of the U.S. demographic as a whole. It really does nothing for polling. This is the horse race, I guess you could say, time period of election cycles. So, I mean, I guess we got to wait a couple of months before we really get into serious polling. But right now, you're just going to get partisan polling that essentially tells you whatever it is that group sought out to get. So, yeah, that's come as no surprise.
Well, Stacey.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Stacey, the reason I keep using the phrase the administrative state, which is they are the ones that ousted in the Democrat Party. They ousted JFK. So that tells you something right there. It is the establishment.
What does it tell us? What does it tell us right there?
It doesn't tell us anything.
The establishment are running the show.
No context.
They want to run the show. And that's what's going on. The establishment versus constitutional patriot. Because they make people think that they're following the Constitution, that they care about the Constitution.
Establishment.
So
don't trust government. Don't trust government.
The establishment
just for the
versus
fans of the show,
constitutional patriots.
Excuse me. Okay, stop
You don't
talking.
even know what
Thank
you're
you.
talking about. You're just making up.
Okay.
You're just making up.
Excuse me. I got to move on. The U.S.
But Stacey, just for the fans of the show, a republic is a form of democratic government. So when people say we're not a democracy, we're a republic, they're describing a form of democracy.
We are a representative republic.
Correct.
Representative republic. It's not a democracy. Nowhere in the Constitution do you find democracy. Hey, Keith.
They're not going to think. You're trying to make them
think. Okay, you guys can't talk. Okay, I got to move on. So look at my screen. The U.S. and UK forces repel largest attack by Houthis in Red Sea. This was written today, updated 9 hours ago. Basically, Cousin Todd, or Guna, or Stephen, or Keith, do you want to talk about why the U.S. and the UK are repelling the largest attack in the Red Sea and what that means to everyday teachers, firefighters, nurses? What does that mean to everyday people, this attack? Who wants to address that?
Well, as you can see, usually these things come with a hike in gas prices just because again, I mean, the supply chain is designed that they can circumference, they don't have to go through the Red Sea. They got pipelines all over the place to get to the Suez Canal, whatever, right? So, yeah, I mean, again, these rebels have always operated. They've always done these attacks. They operate out of Yemen, parts of Iran. They've always done these things. Now it's just getting ramped up because there is this correlation to what's going on in Israel and the media really wants the Middle East they were looking at the Middle East to be a flashpoint. They're talking about these different fractions and how, because Israel is stepping up attacks or not maintaining a ceasefire, these other things are happening. So these particular rebels are always doing that. They may have gotten a little bit more funding in order to raise again, when you talk about terrorism, part of terrorism isn't even the effectiveness of the attack itself, is to raise the profile of the group that's doing it. So they're just doing it because, you're having this conflict over there in Israel now. Let's raise our profile by stepping up our attacks in the Red Sea. They're not going to be effective. I mean, we have carrier battle groups. We have enough ships that these little fishing boats that they're firing rockets from really won't.
So what does that have to do? How's that affecting? I wanted to apply it to the everyday person in the United States.
It doesn't. Some people, a bunch of criminals in the desert are mad, and they get in a fishing boat and they shoot a rocket at an oil rig, with a bunch of destroyers in between them, right? And so
and they're trying to do what? What are they trying to do by shooting these?
They're trying to raise their profile because they're not going to disrupt the shipping. They're not going to disrupt the shipping of oil out of
disrupting the shipping of oil is eventually going to cause the prices to go up for the average person.
Won't. I mean, oil brokers may use that as an excuse.
Excuse me. So
oil brokers may use that as an excuse, but it's not. I mean, the supply chain won't. To think that countries that make oil are going to let a bunch of guys in a fishing boat disrupt them from making money, they're not going to happen.
When the shipping companies like Maersk and others have to go around and can't use the Red Sea to get their products from where they are to where they need to be,
they may use that excuse
prices to go up?
Prices, but they're not going to disrupt
the prices to go up so that the people who are the teachers, the people that are the nurses, the firefighters have to pay more per gallon, or have to pay more at the supermarket, or have to pay more.
It's about oil futures. So they like to use little things like this to raise prices. But technically, a man with a rocket in a fishing boat is not going to destroy a U.S. Aegis class destroyer or cruiser. It's not going to happen.
But then the question is, let me ask Cousin Todd. Then, since Cousin Todd's sitting there going to sleep, then the question is, why in the world would we care? And why in the world would Maersk or other shipping companies enlist the United States and the British government? It costs money for us to go over there and fight against these people. Why are we over there fighting against these people and using our money to do stuff?
It would go away. If the media didn't talk about it, it would go away.
No, Maersk.
It's always happened. It's always been going on.
Are not Maersk and other shipping companies are sending their ships through other waters. They're avoiding the Red Sea on purpose. And then the United States and the British Navy get into this, and our monies go towards fighting these people who are like Aguna says, throwing rocks at battleships.
Otherwise, we'd be mothballing so we want to fight them because we want to shoot off these rockets.
This has to do with Israel, and they're doing this because they want America to mind their business, and they don't like America backing Israel in their war against the
hated
Palestinians. And so that's why they ramped up like they have. And so, Stephen, can you shut?
No, I'm just trying to. I'm listening.
Your help is not needed. Shut up.
I didn't say a word.
So anyway, so that's what's going on there. They don't like America getting in that. They feel like America should mind their business. They know they want them to.
Okay, but them throwing rocks
and they
at
won't.
Battleships aren't going to do anything. But for United States and the Britons to come in, Stephen, your comments, please.
What we have is the United States government right now with the power.
This is the thing here.
Wait a minute, with the powers that are in charge right now.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, what we have.
This is the thing. This is.
I didn't talk over you. I might have said a word or two, but I didn't talk over you.
Oh,
what we have right now is we have a government that is fully into the war machine. This government is fully into the war machine. Yeah, you know what? Maybe one day you will mature a little bit, but not tonight.
Just a little bit, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Trump
Stephen.
was not. No, don't thank me. Trump was not with the war machine.
Thank you.
That's why for 4
He
years
was.
we didn't have any wars. Look around, gang. We
Untrue.
got wars popping up all
Untrue.
over the place. We got wars everywhere. We didn't have that under Trump. You can shake all your head. You can hide your face.
We
I would
did.
hide my face too, Aguna, because the people you support
Stop
are the war
lying,
machine,
man.
and they
That's
support
because
both
You
Trump
don't have
sides
to
of
made a
lie.
every
deal with
conflict.
terrorists.
Talk with some
Both
sense.
sides of
I
every
just want you to talk
conflict
with some
is
sense.
what the war machine in this country is doing. And around the world, that's what they're doing. They don't care about
There
the
was
people.
no
They don't care about
wars
the
during Trump.
populace. They don't care about, but Donald Trump cared
There
about
was
the
no
people.
war going on
Say all
during
you want.
Trump.
There was no wars with Donald Trump for 4 years. We had peace.
No,
Donald
there
Trump
was,
Now,
he
made a
just
now
deal
look
with
at the wars
terrorists.
we have. We got
There wasn't a
Ukraine.
war
We
against
have
ISIS.
Israel. We have wars everywhere. It's
We
World War
didn't get
III.
bombed by Iran.
Guess what, Aguna? You and your arrogance and your
Iran
ignorance,
fired
you,
on
your
U.S.
arrogance
troops
and your
under.
ignorance and people like you
No, I mean,
is
I'm just
why
speaking the
we're
truth.
all
Don't
going
get
to
angry.
die
Don't
now
get
in a
angry.
nuclear war
Just
We're all
because
tell
of
gonna
me.
people
die.
like you that thinks it's okay to give
Okay.
Iran
Thank you.
money, to keep giving
Okay.
Iran
Thank you.
money
Just
because these
tell the
these
truth.
people, these Islamists
Okay.
Just tell
Thank
the
you,
want to
truth.
What's
Stephen.
the
destroy the
point of
earth.
this? What's the
China,
point?
I
you
don't
are
know.
all on the side of our enemies,
You,
and the Joe Biden
Jim,
is on the side of our enemies. That's
And
why
Joe
Donald Trump
Biden,
is going to be a better
Jim,
president than him because he's
Jim.
on
He
America's
doesn't want
side.
to.
He doesn't
Okay.
tell
America
the
Thank
He
you,
doesn't
truth.
want
first.
Stephen.
to.
He just
Thank
America
you.
tells
first.
his lies.
Thank you. Now,
So
Stephen, I
stupid.
don't know
His
if you heard
lies.
it.
And he gets mad.
No, I
I
didn't
don't know
hear
if
it,
you heard it.
Stacey.
I told Aguna kept saying mute Stephen, not him. I kept muting Aguna. So you always say, like last year, you said, I bet you said his mic isn't muted.
I'm
I
a
So
tell you,
man.
I
I
tell
did
you what,
mute
I
That's
still heard
Aguna
him
evidence
the
that
too.
you
whole
were a
time, but
man.
maybe the show's evolving a little bit, Stacey. Thank you.
Why? Because we let you go on these rants of
It's
nonsense.
not a
Okay,
rant. I'm saying
Broseph,
we had a
You do
president
this
that was
every
a
Broseph,
peaceful
show. Check the
president,
tape. Check the
not
tape.
part
You're
of
a
the
okay,
war.
man.
Broseph,
Cousin Todd,
please.
is this really worth the phone battery? Like listening to
He
people
said
Uh,
like
there was
this?
no war under
no.
Donald Trump.
As
There
a
was no
matter
war
of
Take
fact,
started on.
facts.
There was
I'm
no
gonna have
war
to
He
charge
didn't
my
started.
say that.
phone
There were
after
no
listening
wars
to this idiot.
started on.
Excuse me. Go ahead, Broseph. I had to meet them. Boy,
So
Broseph.
your initial question, I think you kind of got at the heart of the matter, which this is hard. This is hard for most people to kind of deal with. So you brought up how will that affect the average teacher, firefighter, the average citizen in America? And the answer is,
Mhm.
Aguna kind of led you here. It won't. This will not be a big
So
enough
then why are
splash.
they talking about it? So why is
Ma'am,
The
CNN
media.
got it on? Why does Reuters have it on? Why does AP have it? If it doesn't make a difference to the average person, why are they reporting on it?
Entertainment.
So as people, as humans, regardless of what country you're from, when there's a big event going on globally, should we care about that event even if it doesn't affect us directly? And I think the answer to that is obvious to where, yeah, we should. We should say, wow, that's going on over in this area. Now, why is it not going to affect us? You talked about this before. Joe Biden making that deal with Venezuela and other Central American countries to where they're going to keep the supply chain active, and any disruption in the Middle East is not going to hurt supplies here. That's why they're getting around it. But this goes back to Rome. This goes back to Egypt. Like, we could talk about many, many empires and say, what happens when the military ideas that the empire wants to take upon, when they don't affect the citizenry, does the citizenry disrupt those things? Rome had that issue once they had no areas to conquer that were close enough to them, and people started moving back to Rome. And then they had to figure out, okay, how do we actually keep the corn dole and bread dole flowing with so many citizens coming back? And that was eventually their ruin. So, these things come full circle eventually. But as far as right now, this will not affect the typical American. And their only interest in this will be because, it's a huge story and a humanitarian crisis
Entertainment.
in the event that one of these ships actually does go down, or, they do counter strikes and they hurt a lot of people who weren't even involved in it.
Okay, thank you. Taiwan is scheduled to vote on Saturday. Broseph, do you want to start to talk about how that will affect the United States and why they're making a big deal over Taiwan voting for their government, for their president, and for their essentially Congress, and what China's problem is with Taiwan having that vote on Saturday?
All this does is tell you that the provocations from us to China will continue. You remember when they sent Nancy Pelosi over there to try to provoke them before? So this means we're going to support Taiwan no matter what and try to keep them as an independent entity. Of course, China is looking at that as lost property and their people. And this is just going to be a point of contention between the two sides. But yeah, this is definitely telling you that, hey, we're going to continue to support Taiwan regardless of how China feels.
Okay, and if we continue to support Taiwan, regardless of how China feels, Cousin Todd, will that possibly put us on the precipice of war with China?
No, I don't think so.
No, we don't fight people who can fight back.
We don't fight people that drive our economy.
Yeah, I don't think they'll just do back and forth rabble rousing, but they won't. And no, China's not going to attack America, and vice versa.
Keith?
Yeah, China and America are not at war. They won't be in that sense. China just buys us out. So, I mean, what do they need to fire a shot at? I mean, we've got people in America that are destroying America. We have enough of our representatives and people in America who hate America and are destroying it. So
you realize that's a charge of treason.
Why do they need to fire a single missile?
When you make a charge of treason, can you
if America goes down, like Abraham Lincoln said.
All right, let him finish.
Like Abraham Lincoln said, if America goes down, it'll be because of its division. A country cannot stand a divided country.
Amongst itself cannot stand. There you go.
Okay, thank you, Stephen.
China will take Taiwan whenever they want it. They're just gearing up for it. They're building up for it. And they're going to be ready. And they're going to take Taiwan because they figure it's theirs. They're going to do what they want to do. And if we still have the same administration as we do now, they won't do anything because Joe Biden and this administration is totally compromised by China. And they do everything China wants. Everything China has wanted since Joe Biden's been in office has happened. The war in Ukraine had to be sanctioned by China to start with, and Joe Biden is just nothing but a puppet of China. It's communist China by now because of all the dealings and business dealings that they have. Of course, that's with his son and everybody else, and he has the same thing with Ukraine. Joe Biden is compromised. He's a compromised president. And you talk about treason, he needs to swing. He needs to swing publicly because that's what happens when people are treason. Everything he's done, everything that Joe Biden has done is to hurt this country.
What treason are you referring to? Okay. All right.
Excuse me, what treason?
Yes.
Joe Biden is a tree because he's compromised by China and because he's let our border be completely wide open. You people on here don't understand how vulnerable we are right now. You can't have millions of people come through our border the way they have. It's unprecedented. We have been invaded. We have been invaded. You are not. No, it's not a narrative. This is the truth. A country cannot survive.
He doesn't have to answer the question.
A country cannot survive when it's been invaded. We have been invaded by mostly people that are of military age. 70% of them military age people. Millions of them coming into this country. We have no chance now. We're done. Because of what you support on this show, Aguna, because you and this little guy in this black hole, and y'all are because y'all support the regime you report. You're going to lose everything you have. You're going to lose everything you have. We all are. You're going to lose your country. That's how arrogant you are. You are so arrogant. You are so soft and you're so arrogant. You don't know what's coming. I feel sorry for you because Keith and I know what's coming. We're ready. You have no idea. You're going to be a little baby. You're going to be a little baby in a pen.
Thank you.
Before you move on, Stacey, I have to say this.
What was that?
Do you know Stephen said, and I'm telling you this, Stacey, because I don't want you investigated. Stephen said that Joe Biden should swing. Now, I think that means he should be hung. He's talking about a sitting president. So, I don't want you investigated.
Well, this is what happens when you let the inmates run the estate.
We have laws in this country that include treason, and he is.
excuse me,
What he's
made a
done is
comment.
treasonous.
Stephen made a comment based on his opinion. That was not my comment. It was not my opinion. It was Stephen's opinion based on a
Should we
question that I
report
asked
him?
him.
Should we report
So,
him?
so that is
As
totally up to
citizens,
Stephen. But let me move on
citizens
to
arrest.
possible shutdown and the federal government.
But Stacy, you asked
Yes.
the question about us supporting Taiwan, which is against the interests of China, which actually pisses China off. And then he turned that into that Joe Biden is in bed with China, when in actuality, he's been really retaliatory and aggressive with China. He sent Nancy Pelosi over there to do a visit in Taiwan, which pissed them off because it gives them legitimacy that China doesn't think Taiwan should have. So when
Oh my
these
God, they
conversations,
sent Nancy
these things
Pelosi?
happen.
Oh my God.
When you
Come
send
on,
a
man.
high rank, when you send
Come
a
on,
high
man.
ranking, okay, you can say "come on, man" 100 times. When you send a high ranking official to a disputed territory to say we back this territory against the other nation, it's hard for somebody to believe you when you make this charge of treason and collusion and everything else, which is proven to be not only erroneous, but I mean, like, you got to get off Facebook. You need to read other sources. Grow up a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Let
And I
me
don't want the
share my
FBI
screen.
He said,
We are
Stephen, grow
facing
up.
a government
Yeah.
shutdown.
All right,
We're facing
son.
a government
A
shutdown
fool at 60 is
in
a
a few
fool forever.
days. But the conservatives, if you look at thehill.com, the conservatives have tanked procedural vote in a revolt against the current and the new Speaker of the House, Michael Johnson's spending deal. Let me go on down and I'll have Keith comment on this first. A band of House conservatives tanked a procedural vote today in a rebellion against the spending deal Speaker of the House Mike Johnson struck with Democrats, which members of the right flank have sharply criticized. 13 Republicans joined with Democrats to vote against the rule for a trio. That means 3 bills preventing the chamber from debating and voting on the measures which are unrelated to spending. Blake Moore of Utah changed his vote to oppose the rule shortly before the vote closed, a move that allows him to bring up the rule for another vote at a later time. The final tally was 203 to 216. Republican leadership canceled an afternoon vote series following the revolt. This show of opposition came days after Johnson unveiled a deal on top line spending numbers for the remainder of the fiscal 2024 year. Conservatives have rallied against the deal for not cutting spending enough. How can Speaker of the House Johnson survive this, Keith? Don't they still have in place the no confidence vote for speakers if they want to get him out?
Oh God, here we go again. Here we go again, Stephen.
That's terrible.
Well, yeah, whatever happens here. I'm in prayer. I just pray for him. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, because Johnson wants the borders. Johnson wants the borders to be secure, and that's what I'm for Johnson, so I'm with him.
Okay, thank you, Aguna.
So it's very interesting because I know Keith just deflected because he didn't really know the topic was going on.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, this just shows you how it's a fool's errand to be Speaker of the House in this type of partisan climate. Because at the end of the day, it's not even about what's in the bill. It's just about going against the Democrats. It's not the constituency of the Republicans right now. They don't care about legislating. They care about raising money. They care about throwing chum in the water to get everybody worked up. They're not trying to get things done. And again, if you're trying to get things done in a legislative body, it's about compromise. It's about give and take. There are things that need to get done. And so both sides are actually trying to show or call the bluff of the other by saying, hey, these are the do nothing party right now, because again, they don't want to compromise. They just want to, they don't want to have a clean bill. They want to have attachments. Says the person who has no idea how government works, by the way.
Not true.
Has no idea. These writers that they're putting on there, they want clean bills. They don't want to have to compromise, but they have to because somebody has to give and take, right? So, but at the end of the day, those 13 that went against the bill, I guarantee you they're raising money off the fact that they voted against it. That's part of the whole campaign. That's the whole campaign cycle, is to stand against something.
So how does that affect?
You don't even know what you're disagreeing about.
I do too. They're representing their
Stephen,
constituents. It's a representative
Stephen,
republic. They're representing their
Stephen, let me
constituents.
ask you this
Did you write
question.
that on your
How does
hand?
this affect, excuse me,
How do
how
you
does this
remember that?
affect the teacher, the firefighter, the police
No, but no, it's in the
officer,
bill.
the day-to-day
What's in the
person?
bill?
Why should they care about what Speaker of the House Mike Johnson did in terms of revolting against the Republican conservative members?
It's over his head, Stacy.
No, what the people want that are out. We want. No, they have been compromised. What Aguna said was not true. They are compromised.
What did I say?
You said that nobody wants to compromise. They do want to compromise, but what they don't want to give up is the closing down the border is what we have it right now because of the invasion of this country. That's what
did you read the bill?
Your people, your side doesn't want to enforce the border. We
This is
do.
not a conversation
So
about
if
the
you
border.
compromise, if you want more money for pork, wait a minute, she asked me, but she asked me. If you want more money for pork, everything Aguna says is really what the Democrats are doing, not what the right is doing. He's talking about what the left is doing. We want to compromise, but we want to go back to Trump, the Trump days when you have to stay in Mexico. You can't come here. We have been invaded. Millions of people have come in this country.
And millions.
Yeah, millions. We're all screwed, and some people on this show are too stupid to understand how your country is being invaded. You're way too stupid, and you're too arrogant.
Let him finish, Aguna.
You're too stupid, and you're too arrogant to understand you're losing your country because you support the left. Y'all are idiots.
Let me ask
and you know what?
Steven,
you know what?
Steven.
But Broseph hates me. Keith, let them hate us because we hate
Steven, let me ask you this, Steven. Steven, why do you think we are losing our country? Why do you say that?
Because we are being invaded by about 10 million people. By 10 million people from 70 different countries, and 70% of them are of military age. We are being invaded right now. Our country is being invaded.
By who?
People coming through our southern border from 70 different countries. I just said that. That's who is invading us.
I'm just asking a question.
By China, by Russia, by Ukraine, by every 70 some different countries are coming through the border right now.
Well, that was in the bill.
Okay, calm down.
No, what I'm saying is we want that to stop. We want it to stop because you can't have a country if you don't have your border. You can't have your country if you don't have a border.
Okay.
All of you pinheads on here are going to lose everything you have.
Okay.
Stupid.
Steven, I'm just asking you. Steven, I'm just asking you to explain why you think this is happening and what proof do you have that this is happening? Let him explain it.
Because the left wants this to happen. They want our country to be invaded this way. They think it's going to help them have more votes and stay in power longer. Then in New York, they're already registering these people that are illegal to vote, Stacey. Don't you understand? We are losing our country. It's not just about voting. These people are the worst, some of the worst people from all their countries. All of the mental institutions and the prisons have been opened up. So these people are coming here. Guess what? We're all in trouble. Every woman, every man, every child is in trouble in this country. And you, by the way you're acting, Aguna, shows me you have the IQ of a butterbean. And everything that you have has been given to you. Now, start with giving back any degree you got because you don't deserve it. You're too stupid to walk the streets. You're too stupid to walk the streets. We are losing our country. No country, because look what's happening in Europe. Look what's happening in Europe.
Okay, we have to stop. Okay, Steven.
You can't have all.
Steven, okay, thank you. You have to sum it up.
You're a meatball.
We have to start. We have to start a roundtable. Okay.
Yeah, I did. Our
Okay,
country's
so
being invaded.
Okay, thank you. We're going to start the roundtable. No, stop. No, stop. No, stop.
You allowed him to go on for 5 hours, and now everybody stop.
Stop. We're going to start our roundtable. We'll start with Keith, then Stephen, then Broseph, then Aguna,
I
then
feel
I'm gonna
that
mute
no,
and then
I'm
go to
leaving.
Todd.
I can't. I'm not
Okay.
going
I'm
to stick
sure
around
this
for
is gonna
this.
go
Okay.
well.
I'm not sticking around for this
I mean,
because
Okay,
you
bye.
allowed this
you're gonna let him talk
psycho.
again.
Okay, bye. Okay, so Keith,
This is terrible, man.
Oh no, you don't.
wait.
I'm getting out of here.
This is a
Goodbye.
nightmare, man. This dude.
Goodbye. And I'm suing you.
We're all gonna be investigated by the FBI because of
Yeah, and that's why I'm suing Stacy.
Well, okay,
Dude making
bye.
threats and shit.
Steven,
Okay,
take the
Keith.
wheel.
Bye.
Steven,
I'm
take
getting
that
out of
What's
wheel.
it,
here.
Keith? What a roundtable discussion, Keith? What
You
is it that
allowed
you
him
wanted
to go
to?
on, and now
All right,
No,
I'm
I
slow
going to
down.
go
asked
back
Slow
him.
to
down.
him.
No, I asked him
He went
why
on
did
for
he
an
think
hour, and he knows
he
he
did
did
not?
that.
She
He
asked
did
He
me.
not.
didn't
I
even he
asked
didn't even
him.
know what was in the
I
bill.
asked him.
They
Wait,
contradicted each other.
stop. You all are just making statements, but you're not letting me answer. I asked him why did he think that, and what proof did he have for thinking what he did?
He
So
never
I
had
was
He
any
asking
proof.
him
didn't
to
answer
quantify
any
and
of that. He
qualify.
starts saying terrorists are coming over here, taking over your country.
They're
And
militarized.
There's
they did not
millions
do
of
anything.
people coming through here that are unchecked.
Look, here he
Millions of
goes
people
again.
that are
Here he goes again.
unchecked.
Here he goes again.
You
Okay,
Seven
keep
stop
countries.
talking,
He says the
Stephen.
same thing
I was
with
on
having a
every
conversation
show.
with
retarded.
Todd.
They're
Every
coming to
Okay,
show.
get your
Stephen,
cousin
stop
Todd.
talking. I was
You
having a
better look
conversation
under
with
your
Todd,
man.
telling him
You better be
why
like,
I
here
asked
coming.
Stephen what I asked him and allowed him to give me his answer.
And all he did
So
was call
Keith,
people names.
this is
That's
our
Entertainment.
all he
round
does.
table.
He's like,
Keith, this is our round
he's like
table.
a
You
first
have
grader.
You like to
20
watch the
seconds,
monkey
Keith.
dance.
20 seconds, Keith, to make your comment. And you sent me something about the who from Atlanta. Go ahead, Keith. I don't remember
Well,
what
I'd
that was.
rather not talk about that. That's a mute. To
It's
me, that's
probably
really
something about gay
not
people.
relevant to what we're talking about today. I think it's more important to talk about this in 20 seconds. The amendment, the 12th Amendment says that the electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom shall be the elected winner. But here's the point. The point I want to make is we don't elect the president. That makes us a constitutional republic. It is not a democracy. We don't vote by majority rule of the president. It is the majority of the electors who vote for president. And then Article
Who
17
votes
Making
for
my
the
point.
elector?
says
Thank you
that
for
Who votes
making
for
my
the
the
point.
Senate
electors?
of the United States shall be composed
Who
of two
votes for the
senators
electors?
from each state,
This got to
elected
be
by
the
the
dumbest
people.
man in the country.
Now, that was changed, and in 1913.
He thinks
So
he's so
before
smart.
1913, we used to vote.
He
The
tries to sound so
legislatures
intelligent.
voted for the senators. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
So
you're out of
that's true.
time. You're
We
out
are
of time.
originally a democracy. The founders hated
Okay, you're
democracy.
out
Please
of
Google
time.
that. Thank you.
TY right
You're out
here.
of time.
The
Thank
Thank you.
you.
establishment.
You're out of time, Keith.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Keith. Good job,
Stephen,
Keith.
And you
Stephen,
represent the
what was your
establishment.
Hey,
comment?
Keith, your America
For
shirt was built in China. Was made in China.
Yes, I know.
Stephen,
Unfortunately.
20 seconds.
If you check out what's going on in different European countries like Germany and France and Italy, other countries that are being have been run over by illegal immigrants or Islamists or whatever, they're having a hell of a time. They're losing everything because we don't know what's going to take over here. All we know right now is millions of people have come into this country. You know what? And they're being shipped to New York, Chicago, and places like that. They can't handle it. All of this is
By
not
whom?
new, right? But it doesn't matter because what you want them to all stay in Texas? No,
Okay, thank
spread it
you.
all
Your
around
20
to these
seconds is up,
sanctuary
Stephen. Stephen, thank
states
you. Your
and let
20
them deal with
seconds is
Way to
up.
this.
solve the
This is
problem.
Stephen, your
horrible.
20
For
seconds
y'all
are up.
not to condemn
Stephen,
it
Yeah.
shows me how
Now you're
stupid you are.
Stephen,
Now
thank
Condemn
you.
this, or
Thank
you're
you, Stephen.
retarded.
Oz.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
thank you,
you.
Stacy.
Send them to where
Broseph,
Todd lives, where Nas lives,
Broseph,
where Guna lives. Send
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Let's
Broseph,
do that. Let's do that.
Broseph,
You call yourself a
Broseph,
Christian.
anything? Go ahead, Broseph, anything you want to discuss?
Yeah, so the situation in Europe, where basically the formerly colonized countries, people aspire to go back to the mother country. This has always happened. This is nothing new. Now, if we look at Germany, France, England, all these countries, one thing you can find is a really low birth rate, really low replacement level. What do countries do when they have really low replacement levels? They bring in immigrants. This is not anything new. This is not anything radical. Those countries are not being changed in any way. You're just bringing in people who will not only sustain your country because they're going to pay taxes, they're going to work the jobs on the lowest part of the supply chain that other people wouldn't have, and they're actually going to contribute to your society by bringing, even hell, England even has edible food now, due to the many people from Pakistan, India, and everywhere else. Shout out to the curry chicken from England. So yeah, just the idea that there's this invasion thing going on. This is a really bad white nationalist talking point that has gone all over Facebook and YouTube, to where they've convinced people that the others are coming in hordes and taking over the country, and they're coming to take your women and all this other stuff. It's hysteria.
Record low unemployment.
It's hysteria being driven by the right, and it works really well amongst really young adult
low
white
information.
males. Typically low, low information.
Yeah,
people.
That live in Henrico County.
right.
Hold on. But one thing to think about though, and this is something that kind of shines out from the Brexit era, because Brexit was a lot of propaganda about this similar thing. And what ended up happening is England has lost a lot of money and access to other markets because they did the full Brexit, and now they're kind of sliced out of the EU. But what they found when they went back and looked at the Brexit voting was the people in London who actually were closest to the immigrants, meeting new people and new people around them, they actually were against the idea of Brexit. But the people who were on the outskirts, the people who were less likely to even meet or live near an immigrant, those were the people who voted for Brexit because of the hysteria online that Stephen has kind of been infected with. And you see how it plays out. It's just anger, bitterness, and a constant idea of nihilism where everything is going bad. We're all going to die. Like that.
That's not what nihilism. That's not what nihilism means.
That's the focus.
Okay, thank you.
On.
Spell it.
Yeah,
thank
spell
you.
it.
Thank you, Aguna.
It's a global economy. Wake up, people. Come on. There's record low unemployment. All this babble about Joe Biden's economy. Yeah, well, the market keeps going. We added 200 and some odd thousand jobs last month. There's reality and perception and just ignorance. And I think there's a lot of that ignorance on this show. And I just want all our viewers to see the rage. You see when we get into debates and we have these conversations, who are the ones trying to reason and actually talk rationally and really engage versus the ones that are just yelling and trying to talk over people and trying to be ignorant, calling names and all this other stuff like that. So at the end of the day, you be the judge. Don't believe my words. Don't believe anybody's words on this show. Just look at the actions. Look at who's coming from a place of love, peace, and harmony, and who's coming from a place of rage and bigotry. And
I'm coming from love.
And so
I don't want to see your children get hurt. That coming from a place of love.
Right.
That's a weird.
My children go to a multicultural school, and they are fine. They're not being. They don't feel like they're getting invaded, and they definitely don't think they're going to be a nuclear war tomorrow. But again, we're just living in reality.
Thank you, Cousin Todd.
Okay. I'm going to first start by saying Stephen is crazy. And during this show, he insulted women. And Stacey did nothing and said nothing about it. In the beginning, he said, because Todd, you watch The View with all those unhot women. Unhot women?
They're not hot. I didn't say anything that wasn't true.
Can you?
If they have hot flashes,
Stephen insults everybody.
So
even if they have,
he won't stop. What he did was talk about Joy Behar, who's like 80 years old. She's non-hot. Whoopi Goldberg, who's almost 70 years old, who's non-hot. Anna Navarro.
You're wasting time, Todd.
It's got nothing to do with their age. It's got to do with.
You only got 20
Talk
seconds.
about anybody's face with your face.
Hurry up. Stephen has a cross to burn.
You're
Stephen has
wasting
a cross
time,
to burn.
Cousin Todd, on this instead of making a point. That's really important.
So you are a two-faced Republican. You are so typical. This is Stacey I'm talking to. Oh, well, that's not important. It is important. Aren't you? Let's establish a fact here. Are you a woman? I want to establish a fact, Stacey.
I'm a man. I'm a man,
So-
Stacy.
I don't know the definition of a woman. We're not allowed to know the definition.
Shut up. So you would allow this on your show?
More than
nevertheless,
how come I
then
only get 20?
not only that, he's a thief. I was telling him about the trash that came over to the United States from Europe, and now he spun it and talk about they're coming over invading our country from everywhere. They're letting them out of the jails. They're letting them out of the mental institutions. No, that's how you got here, Stephen.
It's my country now. It's my country now.
Okay, thank you, Cousin Todd. Now, in response to Cousin Todd's opinion of me,
unnecessary, wasting time.
Opinion of me. I said opinion of me. As a Republican woman, I don't like anyone talking about women of any stature anywhere,
Age.
regardless of someone's age, their race, their religious choice. Okay,
wait. How about
religious
how many
choice.
times has Stephen called Broseph and I all kind of names for no dang reason?
How many times have you called Keith and I names? How many times have you called Keith and I names?
Okay, so let me stop. This is my roundtable. This is my roundtable, and I'm
Get out of
responding
here.
to Cousin Todd.
Get out of here.
This is my roundtable, and I'm responding to Cousin Todd. Cousin Todd, everyone has a right in the United States to say anything they feel. I can't control what Stephen feels about people. I can't control what Keith feels about people. I can't control what you, Cousin Todd, feels about people. He has a right to say it. I may not agree with it, but I can't control what they think and what they say. You, Aguna, Broseph.
That means you are an enabler, Stacy. You're enabling this ignorance on.
I don't necessarily want him. That would not be my choice to have him say those things, but I can't control his opinions. Those are his opinions. I don't agree with them. They're his opinions. So for you to say I allowed him to do that is disingenuous, and it gives the wrong impression to our viewers, but that's what you do.
I don't know now.
Well, that's because they're part of the
oftentimes. But I must say that I don't every time someone says something that I don't agree with, I can't stop them and say, no, you don't have a right to have your opinion and say it. I mean, I can't do that. They have a right to say whatever they choose to say. There is a limit and there is a line, but by him saying that women are not hot is not crossing a line. I mean, how's it crossing a line to say that women are non-hot?
Let's do this.
That's his personal. No, that's his personal opinion about those particular women. What? How can I say he doesn't feel that way?
We're talking about the hate speech, the scapegoating, all the dang ignorant stuff that goes into the bigotry of this country, and just spewing it out in real time.
So let's deal with
from
that.
Joe Biden.
So when he spews it out in real time,
from Joe Biden.
I asked Stephen, what do you mean by that? Why do you say that? And where are you getting your whatever you think is the proof of what you're saying is true? And that's what I asked him. And then and that's when he gets to explain it. And that's when the viewers get to decide whether or not they agree with him.
Have a conversation, Stacey. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
That's how it is.
You don't have a conversation.
Free conversation is one thing, but platforming it is another. There is a point to where you have to say, okay, not only is this person doing a disservice to the show, at a certain point where he's threatening the president, saying the president should be.
I'm not threatening the president. I'm saying under American law, he's treating.
Okay, wait a minute. Stop. Go ahead, Broseph.
He's yelling out his racist tropes as usual.
No racist.
Adding nothing to the show but anger and yelling at the screen. You're stupid, and if you don't know this, you're stupid. And I'm just like when we have to listen to these tantrums
because we were talking
to a certain
specifically
point,
to a
it can't
bill.
flow.
We were talking about a bill that he had no idea what was
No,
in it.
I know what the bill is and what we want in the bill. What's not happening.
It was
Okay.
Johnson's bill.
Okay, I'm gonna
About to
stop.
do it again.
What
I'm
we
gonna
want
stop
in
you.
the
We're out
bill
of
is a
time.
border.
Stop.
That was
Stop.
in the bill.
No, it was
talking.
not. It was to.
Stop talking. Stop.
It
talking.
was to process. It wasn't.
Steven, stop talking.
It wasn't to
Aguna,
slow
stop
nothing
talking.
down.
Steven, did I say stop talking? Please stop.
Yeah, but
talking.
you didn't stop. You didn't mute the.
I did. He keeps unmuting himself, and I keep muting him back. I keep doing it back to both and forth. So anyway, I've got to stop the show. We can continue this conversation later, and I'll continue it offline with each one of you. And as
Not
we go
me.
to make this show a better show in 2024.
Let's just have
So,
an
on
intelligent
behalf,
conversation. Is that enough to ask? Just have an intelligent conversation.
What we did.
All
You
right,
don't
to our
believe we're
first
being invaded.
responders.
Okay.
Excuse me, to our first
You don't know
responders
what's
in
in
our
the bill.
communities. To our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do in sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose on this show. We are forever, forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna,
The college
Nigerian.
educated.
Yeah.
Moderate Republican.
Perfect.
Look,
Stephen,
Yes. So is Hunter Biden.
the independent thinker.
Intimidates you.
I'm smarter than you. I can't help you.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't have
constitutional
to say it. You wouldn't have.
Conservative.
I'm smarter than you.
Broseph, thank
Keep
you for
on.
joining us,
You
Broseph.
can't win an argument.
And my cousin Todd.
Insecure.
I'm
I haven't
Stacey
been wrong.
Johnson. Let's keep this
Insecure.
None
conversation
insecure.
going.
Insecure.
See how they keep
It's my
going? You
record.
all have to stop. I'm
You're
going through
keeping
my
it
outro.
yourself.
You guys are on and on. Just wait. Just wait. Thank you for joining us. Check us out on Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network, X, TikTok,
I'm smarter than
Instagram,
you. I'm a man.
and Twitch. Until next week. I don't even want to play any music. Until next week.
Come on, let's go out with a bang,
Good night.
Stacey.
He won't shut
Go
up,
out with a
Stacey.
bang.
He won't shut up.
No.
He won't
Both
shut.
of you
If you
won't
notice, he
shut
wouldn't
up.
shut up.
Me up because I'm a king.
I know
Both
she
of
was
you
trying to
won't
talk, but
shut
she
up.
wouldn't shut
I'm a
up. It
king.
wasn't me. It was him.
Okay.
He's the
Thank
one
you.
crying.
We're going to talk about this
You
before
got-
next week. Good night.
All right. Good night. Rein in the white supremacy.